something about a piece of paper these days when it comes to CVs and job descriptions that just don't get me excited anymore. So how can we take a job description and make it interesting and compelling? We have a go at candidates when we look at their CV and go, that's pretty dull. It's pretty boring. And at the end of the day, it's no different. How do we take a CV? How do we take a job description? And how do we make it compelling? How do we get hard to find talent out there to make them go, wow, I'm going to apply for that job? It's pretty competitive out there. So today in The Recruitment Doctor, I'm going to talk to you about job descriptions and how to make them compelling, interesting, sassy, and intriguing. So first things first, job titles. Look, keep them clean, keep them simple. At the end of the day, there's a lot of businesses out there that have got different types of job titles within your internal organization, which is great. It's always interesting to keep things innovative and creative. However, I just want you to think about Google, okay? Put yourselves out into the shoes of a job seeker. If your job title is mysterious and unique, it's just not going to be picked up. It's simple. So you've got to pick up on those keywords that a job seeker is going to be searching. And if you're not sure, speak to someone like myself, or simply jump on Indeed.com and look for the keywords in a job title that are going to make sure your job advert is going to stand out and reach the top when it comes to a candidate searching for a new job. Secondly, salary. Put your salary on. I know that a lot of businesses have got internal policies where they can't advertise. Well, look, that's great. You're going to lose out on a large percentage of people because effectively, if your salary's not on there, why are they going to go and apply for it? I'll give you a perfect example. I spoke to someone, no names mentioned, who was on the RecX podcast a couple of months ago, who said she won't apply for a job if the salary's not on there, regardless of how good the job matches to her expertise. So she's a perfectly good example of why you need to put a salary on there. I'll come back to you on the benefits package later, but be clear with what your salary is. What's your minimum? What's your maximum? Top end maximum, put it on there. Thirdly, location. Now look, we're currently working in a virtual world at the moment where there's a lot of organisations that are working remotely. It's really important to be specific as to what that looks like. So if you are offering remote working, and when I say remote working, allowing your employees to work from home, then specify exactly what that looks like. Don't just say it's at the discretion of the manager of the organisation. Give them something to work with. There's a lot of software developers there that are working fully remote at the moment, and they're not looking to change. So if you are going to be flexible and you still want them in the office, explain why, and I'll get on to where you're going to put that next. The company and the business, this whole essence, a lot of people in the job description are going to go straight to the job, straight to the roles and the responsibilities. No, not on my watch. For me, it's all about how you sell your culture. We're culture first. Why is that? Because that's how you get buy-in. This is all about you and your culture. What does that look like? What are your values? What's your story? Get people excited and talk from the heart. Talk about exactly all of the things you set up that business for and what that product was created in order to support. A job description is no different to a social media post. The first paragraphs are absolutely critical. Next, I'm going to be going on a short overview of exactly what the job is. If people are looking at applying for your job when there's many others out there, it's got to be compelling to give them a reason to leave. So can you give a short paragraph as to what the job is in a couple of lines? And ultimately, how does this job potentially contribute to the company's goals and objectives? Then I'm going to be going on into a little bit more detail as to what the roles and the responsibilities are. Don't waffle, okay? Let's go for the straight up. This is your weekly roles and responsibilities. What is a day in that job look like? So it's nice and clear, and use bullet points. Essential skills and desirable skills. Now I'll get on this later on, but drop the year's experience. That's what you call unconscious bias. So No more years experience, just be clear as to what the essential skills are, just to give them a rough taster, but just get away from listing jargon and listing technologies. You've got to be clear as to what you need and what you can be flexible on, and that's the difference between essential and desirable. Growth and learning. If they decide to join your organisation, what's in it for them? And I'm not talking about benefits, I'm talking about investment in them. Is that certifications in terms of whatever the courses that might contribute to their development? Is it in terms of the latest technologies? Find out obviously what's measurable to them, but say that we will tailor our training and investment and development based on you and what your needs are. It's nice, isn't it? And then there's the interview process. What is the urgency of the job? What does the interview process look like? Manage expectations, because sometimes people want to move fast. And if you don't move fast, you're going to lose out anyway, because other businesses are going to move faster. So be clear so they know what to expect. If it's an 8-stage interview, I'm not sure why it would be, but what does that look like? First stage, second stage, third stage, paired programming. Look, be honest, be transparent. People like that. And on that note, where can they follow up? Is there a point of contact on there? No one likes mysteriousness when it comes to the job process. So try to stay away from black hole email addresses and robots. At the end of the day, people buy from people. So be as human as you can and be as engaging as you can. And nextly, I'm going to go into my extras. These are my key top extras that I think you should include in your job spec. For me, there's no getting away from it. And I'm going to start with who's written this job description. Is it the person doing the job or is it the person at the top? You need to get a balance. Try and get someone that's doing that job or that can help when it comes to actually contributing to the reality of what this role will look like, to ensure that it's not too much for that person and it's not going to scare them away. And secondly, little things like logos at the top of your job description and links to your social media and website are a great way for them to do their research on an organisation. So we're not just relying on this little piece of paper. I touched on it before. Use bullet points. We just don't want too much waffle. Too much text in a job description is going to put people off. They're going to skim read anyway. So the easier way to skim read is by breaking down the text using bullet points. And I mentioned it earlier again, unconscious bias. Try and get away from using terminology that will contribute to gender bias or unconscious bias. And here's a little tip, use Textio, link in the description below. And here is my top final bit of advice. Be creative. Be innovative, be different, don't hold back. Job descriptions for me are dying of death. So you've got to stand out, especially when you're trying to attract hard to find talent. So be different in the sense of use technology, video. Could you get your hiring team to actually record a video job description? Could you go and get them to record a video of what it's like to work there and get that stamped on your careers page? How can they get a great perspective of what it's like to work in your organisation before they've even come through the door to interview for you? You've got to build that picture, and that's why I focus on culture first. So I'm not just talking about how you're being creative in writing, I'm talking about how you're being creative in the full shebang, and that's social media. Get them through to the links and make sure that you can stand out from a crowd. Love to hear from you. What have I missed? Comment, like, subscribe. I'm out of here. I'll speak to you soon.